It is Monday, November 27th, and a Fox News alert. Volcano eruption. Thick ash leaving hundreds of thousands of travelers stranded at an airport. The massive rush to escape this inferno.
Plus, a battle over paintings with the Pentagon. The New York City College trying to profit off art made by terrorists.
And the clock is ticking. A jam-packed schedule for President Trump as he sets his sights on the biggest revamp of the U.S. tax system in decades. Can Congress get this done before Christmas is the big question. Fox and Friends First continues right now.
Beautiful Monday. Everyone still full from their Thanksgiving feast? Maybe the leftovers that you had all weekend long? Well, guess what? It's time to wake up and get your week started. Good morning. You are watching Fox and Friends First on this Monday. I'm Jillian Neely.
Got to go back to work.
Yep.
It's no fun. It's the way it is. I'm Rob Schmidt. Thanks for waking up early with us today. And to our top story now, President Trump getting back to work as well, working on tax reform this week with the Republican and the administration's self-imposed year-end deadline fast approaching.
But Democrats now threatening to stop the bill right in its tracks. Griff Jenkins joins us live from Washington, D.C. with what we can expect this week. Hey, Griff.
Hey, Jillian and Rob, good morning. It's crunch time. Only 12 days left on the legislative calendar, and the laundry list is long. Tax reform at the top, as well as a spending bill deadline next week. Immigration funding for the border wall and children's health care also on the list. The president tweeting this as members return to D.C. He says back in D.C., big week for tax cuts and many other great things of importance to the country. Senate Republicans will hopefully come through for all of us. The tax cut bill is getting better and better. The end result will be great for all. But at least 6 senators are on the fence for a variety of reasons, ranging from increasing the debt to repealing the individual mandate to unfairly favoring corporations over small businesses. GOP conference chairman Senator John Thune predicts they will get there.
We have members who are expressing what are legitimate concerns, who have ideas about how to make the bill stronger and better, and we're certainly open to those, and we're going to have an open process on the floor of the United States Senate where people can offer amendments. Those amendments can get debated and voted upon.
Now, funding for the government runs out on December 8th, so Congress must pass something to avoid a government shutdown as Democrats hold out for a fix on that DACA program, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, something Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says he's open to.
I think most Americans want to give these DREAM Act kids a more certain life. So let's do it in December. Let's do it for the good of the country. Let's take care of a lot of problems at one time to show the country we actually can function.
So funding for the border wall, as well as a few other odds and ends like children's health care, a lot to do this week. Congress's first vote will be later this afternoon. We'll see what happens. Maybe a vote by the end of the week on tax reform, guys.
All right, Griff Jenkins, keeps posted. Thank you.
All right, a Fox News alert now, and law enforcement across the country on high alert this holiday season as terrorists look to target U.S. trains. The TSA warning about attacks similar to the 2012 plot to derail a New York-bound train. An undercover FBI agent foiled that al-Qaeda plan after the would-be terrorists were caught scoping out train tracks in the Northeast. Security, a major concern with more than 140,000 miles of rail from coast to coast. Al-Qaeda even publishing detailed instructions for how to derail trains in their propaganda magazine.
A massive volcano on the brink of erupting right now, threatening the lives of thousands. Indonesian officials raising the alert to the highest level, ordering the evacuation of 100,000 people from the popular tourist island of Bali. Rising ash from Mount Agung shutting down the airport and stranding 60,000 tourists. That volcano last erupting in 1963, killing more than 1,000 people.
All right, the nation of Egypt vowing to fight back after a terror attack at a mosque left more than 300 people dead.
President Trump offering the United States full support in the fight against ISIS. Amy Kellogg is live in Milan with the latest. Good morning, Amy.
Hi, Jillian and Rob. Well, the problem is that there is no easy solution to cracking down on terrorism in the Sinai. There has been a lot of criticism of the Egyptian president's heavy-handed way. Some have referred to it as a scorched earth policy, but he has a really serious problem down there in Sinai on his hands. There's been a real spike in radicalism since 2013 when he came to power. in a military coup, and after the collapse of the government in Libya, guns just started flowing into Egypt. There's always been a problem with a certain amount of lawlessness down in Sinai, known for its smuggling, and now we are just seeing a real cycle of violence and retribution from which there doesn't seem to be an easy escape. Now, whereas Christians and police have been the primary targets for terrorists down there, this time they hit a mosque, killing 305 Muslims, 27 Muslim children. The victims were mostly Sufi, and for that, they were targeted because ISIS considers they are not real Muslims. Sufis are mystical, peaceful people, and they were gunned down as they tried to escape the mayhem caused by 30 terrorists armed to the teeth and hungry for the blood of as many worshippers as they could cut down. No group has claimed responsibility yet for the attack, but the Egyptian police have said that they found at least one ISIS flag in the vehicles used by the attackers. There have been some airstrikes on those vehicles and apparently some cleanups in some of the areas where they're believed to have come from. It was the biggest terrorist attack in modern Egyptian history, followed by the one in 2015, as you may recall, when terrorists affiliated with ISIS shot down a plane full of Russian tourists traveling from Sinai back to Russia, killing all 224 people on board. Robin, Jillian.
Just another horrific attack on innocent people. All right, thank you, Amy. All right, President Trump doubling down, urging Alabama voters to pick Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore instead of Democrat Doug Jones. The president slamming liberal Jones in a tweet, writing, "The last thing we need in Alabama is and the U.S. Senate is a Schumer-Pelosi puppet who is weak on crime, weak on the border, bad for our military and our great vets, bad for our Second Amendment, and wants to raise taxes to the sky. Jones would be a disaster." The latest poll numbers have Moore slightly ahead of Jones at this point. Moore has been accused of inappropriate contact with minors. Nearly 4 decades ago, this allegedly happened, allegations that he denies. Alabama's special election is scheduled for December 12th, just a couple weeks away. Senator Al Franken vowing to return to work this morning. The Minnesota Democrat breaking his silence, saying he will not bow out over his own sexual misconduct allegations.
Have you talked about seriously resigning? Have you considered that?
No. The Ethics Committee is looking into all this, and I will cooperate fully with it. But listen, I know I have a lot of work to do to regain the trust of people I've let down.
Franken, who says he's ashamed, is accused of groping several women, going on to call himself a champion and ally of women in that interview.
NFL protests showing no signs of slowing down. Roughly 24 players choosing to sit, kneel, or raise a fist during the national anthem Sunday. Among them, Oakland Raiders running back Marshawn Lynch. This after President Trump called him out in a tweet for standing during the Mexican national anthem in Mexico City while sitting for our national anthem. Fewer fans, though, also showing up to watch those protests. Take a look. You can see pictures of empty seats at stadiums across the country, once again making those rounds on social media. Holiday decorations will be unveiled today at the White House, marking President Trump's first Christmas in office. The First Lady teasing some of this year's decor on social media. Decorations will include the annual nativity scene, and on Thursday, the first family will participate in the National Christmas Tree Lighting Ceremony. The Capitol also getting in the holiday spirit. Their 79-foot Christmas tree arriving overnight at Joint Base Andrews.
All right, let's check the weather now. Janice is back. That's the good news. And she got a nice Arizona suntan, too.
Oh, yes.
Did I really?
I don't know.
I think this is fake stuff. You had a good Thanksgiving. Now, listen, Rob, if you go to Rob's Instagram, he posted pictures of his Thanksgiving. So next year you come to the Dean residence, okay, my friend? You poor thing. You had South Park on the television and a can of beer on the. Anyway.
No, that was actually a glass of water and a pizza.
You come to my house next year, okay, my friend?
I'll be there.
Lots of fun. Here are current temperatures across the Great Lakes and the Northeast right now. 39 in New York City. You know what? That really cold air is still up in Canada, and it's going to remain up in Canada for the next week or so. Now, the next 10 days, we could see some of that really cold air moving southward, but for now, not too bad in terms of temperatures. We are looking at the potential for more wintry weather across the west and a little bit of snow, just a little bit across up upstate New York and New England. And then our next big system that moves into the West Coast, that's going to bring some heavy rain and some mountain snow for those skiers. And again, that system is going to move eastward. But again, the good news is we don't have any of that really Arctic air, you know, that, what do they call it? The polar vortex. That's going to stay away for the next week or so.
Well, thank goodness.
All right, Rob and Jillian, nice to be back.
Nice to have you back. Thank you, Janice.
You got it.
It is 10 minutes after the hour. Curing conservatives, the solution Yale just came up with to help out half the country.
And the fate of the illegal immigrant accused of killing Kate Steinle in San Francisco in the hands of a jury this morning. Our next guest, a former member of the Trump Hispanic Advisory Council, while Steve Cortes here says this tragedy is a perfect example of liberals putting their agenda over public safety.
We will talk to him next. Plus, add him to the nice list. The firefighters being credited for saving Christmas. We're coming right back.
The royal family announcing Harry is engaged to the Suits actress and an American, Meghan Markle.
Sorry, ladies, to shatter your heart. The wedding's set to take place in the spring of 2018. The pair have been dating for 17 months. Prince Harry is 6th in line for the throne. So,
I like him better single. Running around Las Vegas getting into trouble.
Of course you do. All right, let's talk about this. Jury deliberations resumed today for the illegal immigrant deported 5 times, accused of killing Kate Steinle on a San Francisco boardwalk back in 2015.
So what does this trial say about the larger issue of sanctuary cities and the crackdown on illegal immigration?
Here now to weigh in is former Trump Hispanic Advisory Council member and Fox News contributor Steve Cortes. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
This is a guy who had been deported. This is a guy who was in custody weeks prior to this killing of Kate Steinle. What needs to happen now, in your opinion?
Right, Jillian, and that to me really is the tragedy of this. You know, look, tragedies happen in life, and sometimes it's not preventable. This was totally preventable. He was in custody by the San Francisco Police Department weeks before, as you mentioned, weeks before her murder. They ignored an ICE detainer, which is the federal request that he be turned over to be deported a 6th time. That in and of itself, I think, is an absurdity. But even more absurd is the fact that the San Francisco Police Department, and I don't blame the cops, by the way, they're just following the rules that are established by liberal politicians in cities like San Francisco, in cities like my hometown of Chicago, so-called sanctuary cities. I hate that term. I prefer to call it an outlaw city, because what they're doing is willfully ignoring federal law, willfully disregarding the safety of their own citizens for their own narrow political agenda. And I'd also point out that they think that they're pandering to Hispanics by doing that. I'd point out, not in this case, to my knowledge, Kate Steinle's not Hispanic, but many times the victims of dangerous illegal immigrants are Hispanics themselves. So this is not pandering to Hispanics in the end, and it's just totally disrespectful policy. And sometimes political correctness isn't just dumb, it can be deadly.
And I think it's a reaction to Trump taking a hard stance on illegal immigration. I think they're romanticizing their ability to help people and protect people by calling it a sanctuary city. They're trying to be as nice and open as they can be. But even the Obama administration's, I thought that their immigration policy was dead on. I think they did a very good job at responsibly handling immigration. This thing has swung so far left in such a quick amount of time. It's almost unrecognizable to even members of that party.
Right. No, Rob, I'm glad you bring that up. You know, some people called President Obama, and not unwarrantedly so, the deporter-in-chief. He deported more people than all other U.S. presidents combined.
And he went after the criminals.
Right. And by the way, I'm not faulting him for that. No. I'm saying that may have been a very sensible policy. But the idea that that the left or that President Obama was somehow kind to illegal immigration and that there's a sudden crackdown under President Trump just defies logic and the reality of the situation. I think what has changed, though, is that ICE was very much restrained under the previous, and this is in my opinion, if you talk to ICE people, to the ICE Director Holman, for instance, he'll say the handcuffs have been taken off of ICE. They're allowed now to do their job in a way that is very different under the Trump administration, particularly when it comes to dangerous people. We're not trying to knock on doors and take a grandma out of, drag her out of a building and send her back to whatever her home country was. But dangerous people, like the one who killed Kate Steinle, they need to go yesterday.
Well, right, and she was just simply walking along the pier with her father. I mean, you know, that's tragedy in itself.
Jillian,
to think of. that situation.
It's simply an awful story. She literally died in her father's arms.
Yeah.
And you're right. And this man, this assailant, took a gun, took a loaded weapon into an incredibly crowded space and fired it off. Now, he claims he wasn't trying to kill anybody. That's such reckless behavior that, in my opinion, this jury will come back with a decision of murder.
How long do you think that'll take?
No idea. Not a lawyer, not a trial guy. Yeah. But the point is, too, certainly he deserves to go to prison. But I think the larger point is, known dangerous people can't hide in plain sight. That should not happen in America any longer, not in Chicago, not here in New York City, not in San Francisco.
And common sense people understand that, and the people pushing that kind of agenda maybe die on this sword because they push this thing that I don't think many people agree with. All right. Thank you, Steve.
Good to see you.
Thanks
Thank you.
19 minutes after the hour, a battle over paintings with the Pentagon. The New York City College trying to profit off of art made by terrorists.
And not with her, the A-list actress who says we'd be at war if Hillary Clinton had become president. Carly Shimkus is here with the online reaction.
All right, singer Nick Lachey calling for justice after one of the bartenders at his sports bar was shot while she was walking down the street.
Carly Shimkus with Fox News Headlines 24/7. Sirius XM 115 is here with his plea for support. Tell us about this one.
Really scary stuff right here. 27-year-old Ellie Richardson had just left work when, according to police, she almost got hit by a van outside the restaurant. Well, she and the driver reportedly got into a verbal altercation, and that's when the driver, according to police, pulled out a gun and shot her in the face. Well, now the Cincinnati police, Nick Lachey and his brother Drew, have all taken to social media asking for people to help find the suspect. The Cincinnati police tweeted out this picture of a van asking anybody who recognizes it to call them with information. Lachey is also asking for his followers to help Richardson's family with medical expenses, tweeting, "Please help Ellie and her family get through this most difficult time. Thank you." Now, a lot of other people on social media are offering their words of condolences and encouragement. Really tragic time.
So sad.
27-year-old, just engaged, has a 3-year-old son. Oh. So horrible situation right there.
All right, so someone from Hollywood thinking Hillary would have been a dangerous president?
Yeah, actress Susan Sarandon, she supported Bernie Sanders during the election, and she said during an interview with The Guardian that she received vicious attacks from the left because she did not support Hillary Clinton. It appears, though, that she is sticking to her political viewpoints. She said, "I did think she was very, very dangerous. We would still be fracking. We would be at war. It wouldn't be much smoother." A lot of President Trump supporters are interestingly chiming in on this. Steve on Twitter says, "Make America Great Again, a very brave woman because of the sisterhood will now turn on her." BK tweets, "Susan Sarandon is the voice of reason from the left." And another Twitter user says,